everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be asking the question, what are the good peripheral companies when it comes to gaming mice? So I have the crew here. We got Cloudy at Night, Orbi, Guape, and Lumi, all going to give their input. Some of them have a higher expertise than others, and I might even put my own, hat in here and discuss some of what we're going to see today. There's a lot of companies here, and we're going to rate them based on, hey, do they make good gaming mice, yes or no, and what our thoughts are. So we have S, A, B, C, bad, if I guess the quality control is really that bad, and if we just don't know the company, there's a lot of them here, and to be honest, there's even stuff that I have never even used. But we're gonna put the first one on blast, which is gonna be the probably the more popular and controversial and debatable one, which is Finalmouse. All right, how do we feel about Finalmouse?
I think they're bad. Okay. This is just my opinion. Technically, they make a good product, but with the amount of quality control issues that have been consistent throughout like every single release that they've ever made, them delaying so many times with like shipping and just other things, them announcing mice at like a certain weight and then like being like, we're changing it now, like it's gonna be a little bit different. Like, obviously, weight doesn't matter too much, but if, like, the company's not being, like, 100% on, like, the product when you buy it, then it's just, like, I don't really trust them at all. And, like, I just personally think they're a bad company, and everything they make is, like, overhyped. And the only reason that they kind of have as much, like, popularity as they do is because it's, like, a limited, like, release type of thing.
Yeah.
And they're considered, it's, like, a hype beast mouse. That's, like, the only reason I think they have, like, as much popularity as they do.
Okay, opposite spectrum. I know Forby's gonna have a few things to say about this.
All right, dude.
Uh-oh.
So I agree with Lumi in the sense of like some of the practices that they do are pretty scummy in my opinion. And they do have some quality control issues with their mice, but when you compare Finalmouse to every other brand that's on this list, in my opinion, brand practices, they're like a C. Or a bad, just in general. Like they, like he was saying, they can tell you the wrong weight or like tell you a weight and then it's a different weight. On the last two ULX drops that they've had, there's been discoloration issues with the coating on the mouse. So like there's still QC issues across the board with them. But the mouse itself, in my opinion, isn't S tier, but is like A++. Like it's not S tier because of some of the QC issues it has, but like in terms of like quick quality, when they have good scroll wheels and they're not broken, the scroll wheel's great, and just the overall like quality of the mouse, in my opinion, is like high A tier. But in terms of brand practices and how they are as a whole, like they're
does that put them
bottom of the barrel.
B? Does that put them more B if they're bottom of the barrel? Just put them right in the middle.
Pretty fair.
Yeah,
I mean, is that fair?
Yeah, B is fair.
Awesome.
Great mouse when they actually like give you a one that works, but more often than not, you're gonna get a piece of shit.
And unfortunately, you're gonna hear that a lot in this tier list from looking at the brands that we're looking at.
I mean, this is I pulled up a list of everything I could find. Some of them that I was like, I don't think I've ever used their mouse before, but hey, that's why I have unknowns in case we just don't know. But they are notable. Next up, actually, this is one that I had never used until recently. Razer.
I think they're A tier with like their recent the recent ones that they've released, like the Viper V3 Pro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very sorry.
I feel some type of way about this because I have a Viper V3 on my desk right now. Okay.
I have one too, actually. I have one on my desk as well.
Viper, and every Viper that has been released ever, S tier. Absolute S tier. The mouse itself, it's just the GOAT. And something that people don't talk about enough with Razer is that they get exclusive rights to the most recent sensors, and you can't really you can't feel that much of a difference between the different generations of sensors right now. But the V3 Pro specifically is the only mouse, as far as what I'm aware, I may be incorrect on this because it was true at one point, it may not be anymore. But it's the only mouse on the market that has the most recent sensor, which I believe is the 3970, if I remember correctly. But they pay for exclusive rights for that stuff, and having the most recent sensor usually means it has the best sensor. But like they have such a drastic mouse lineup that like I can't say that the company as a whole and everything that they make is S tier, because like the Razer Naga exists, or like the Orochi, right?
But wouldn't that mean more for like variety at that point? Like Cloudy had a good point. Like, how do you feel about Razer, Cloudy?
Yeah, I think they make really good mice. I was on the or I tried the Viper signature at a friend's house, and I was like, yeah, I don't know, like it just felt like a mouse I was like meant to be using, like no issues, and like just overall I was just satisfied.
The Death Adder V3 is also a very, very good mouse.
Dude, the fucking Viper Mini is like the best cheap mouse in the market, bro.
Yep.
Like
Yep,
$10 for like the only disadvantage is it's wired. Everything else about it.
And that's what I mean to cut you off. But then does that mean they just provide variety? Does that mean they belong in S tier rather than just saying like, because they're the good products they do have are really good, but maybe
it's
like
good variety though. Like that's the thing, right? When you go down this list and you look at all the different things, like when you think of Logitech, right?
Yeah.
And you're thinking of Logitech mice, you're thinking of the G Pro. What else are you thinking about from Logitech?
That's pretty much it for the most part.
Exactly. So like when you think at like a company like Razer, and I hate Razer's other products, just as a preface, like I don't like their keyboards, their headsets, anything else, like screw it. But the mice are pretty solid, and they have a shape for just about everyone. Like I know you and I had a conversation months ago about like different mice that you may want to look into, and I actually suggested the Orochi to you. But it's one of those things where like the goat mice out of their lineup is the entire Viper line. The V2, the V2 Signature Edition, the V3 Pro, like even the V3 Hyperspeed is just, they're all really good mice, and there's a mouse for everyone at different price points.
So then you mentioned Logitech, and just kind of keep rolling with the list. Where would you place Logitech then? Like everybody.
I would put Razer at S and Logitech at A, or B, even next to Finalmouse.
What would make it the difference between it being at B versus A? Because if Razer's at the very tippy top, and that's what we're kind of saying, they're tippy top, right?
Yeah.
And then Logitech's a little lower, because I mean they have the G Pro, you know, super light, very iconic mouse, highly sold out. I mean, I would even say the G502, right? I mean, even though
there's
it's a brick,
G502, G303 Stroud Edition, like. The thing is that those mice aren't objectively like good mice when you take a look at the entire market for peripherals. I would actually put Logitech at B, just because they only have the G Pro in terms of like performance mice. And when they came out the G Pro 2, it's literally exactly the same as the G Pro 1 with minor improvements. So I would personally put Logitech at B, just in comparison to everything else that's on this list.
How does everyone else feel about that?
My Superlight is the only one I've owned that just broke over and over.
I feel like Logitech at like in front of Finalmouse, or like at B or like at A would be like valid, because like like their products aren't really that good, but like they're very safe.
Yeah, they're
like,
consistent.
They're reliable.
Like, they're
sure.
like I recommend, like, although that like I don't use it anymore. Like if someone was like, hey, like I'm getting into like MNK and I want like a good mouse, you know, like a good starting point mouse, you know, I would tell them G Pro X. Like that is the mouse I would tell them every single time.
But like my point behind this is when you think of Logitech, right, and you think of Endgame, you think of G-Wolves, you think of Ninjutsu, you think of Zowie, you think of Lamzu. G-Wolves is going to be lower, and we'll get to that. But like when you compare it to like Zowie, for example, or even like Xtrfy, right? Their mice and their overall quality, like there's more variety and can be higher quality than Logitech at that point.
Yeah,
you know?
100%. Yeah, I feel like like B tier, A tier, like
it's like right in the middle between A and B.
Yeah, like high B tier for Logitech.
So are we feeling more high B tier or low A?
Yeah, like high B tier, B tier.
Yeah.
Above Finalmouse?
We can make changes later if we decide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, one of them that I don't know, and since Lumu was talking about, was Ninjutsu, which is a SoaR. I actually don't know anything about this company.
I think they are a tier, because their mice are very good. I've used the V1 and I'm using the V2 right now, and they've both been like really, really, really amazing. The scroll wheels on both, the clicks on both, the side buttons on both are really, really nice. The software for both are really amazing. Like the only thing that I kind of don't like about the Ninjutso is that like they haven't released the dongle for higher polling rates, which isn't like the biggest deal, because it's gonna come out soon. So it's not like really a big deal. But like from what I've used from them so far, like their build quality is really solid. Like the battery life is really good. Like the stuff they give you with the mice are like really nice. Like I think they're an A-tier company. Like there's like some issues obviously, like with every single mouse. My SoaR, like I had a weird issue with like the software like not working properly, but like when it did, like it worked fine. Like it was just like it wouldn't connect properly. It would say that I had to like turn off my mouse or like move it, and it never work. But the mouse, like the mice themselves are really good, and like everything they make is like really solid. Besides that,
So
Thoughts?
I don't have a SoaR or any Ninjutso mouse for that matter, but I have seen a lot of QC issues with their SoaRs specifically, especially with like side panels creaking. I've seen some scroll wheel issues and click issues. I've heard a lot of really good things about the Ninjutso mice, especially the SoaR V2, but I would probably end up putting them at low A tier or high B tier as well, just because of the other
Above
QC
or
issues.
below Logitech?
I would actually take
Above.
probably put it above Logitech.
yeah,
Maybe I'm
That's
sure we'll
fair.
have another one for A. I'm sure
That's
one will still
valid.
be for A. So let's
And
go.
like I said, that could be low A tier as well.
Sure. We'll move in. Let's say next is Asus.
I have never used an Asus mouse, but I'm not gonna lie, I feel like they would be like C tier. Like,
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same
Not
boat.
familiar.
Drum would have been a good person to ask about this because he has worked with Asus in their mice before. I've heard good things about their most recent. I think it's called the Keras.
Yeah, their
if I remember
Keras 2 is
correctly.
4K. I would say they are improving. I think the last I've used their Harpy Ace Edition.
Yeah.
I think it's good. I wouldn't put him at C. I would put him probably
low
they're
B tier?
they're catching up to like the innovation of Finalmouse, but I don't think they have QC issues. But I definitely think
Okay.
they're pushing for more. I don't think the Drum Bums use the Keras 2. I thought about purchasing it recently and then trying it because they are boosting up to 8K to 4K polling and being a little bit more innovative on that front, which I think they're taking their mice more seriously. So if they keep going in that route, I'm sure it'll go better, but I honestly don't know other than that.
No, I would say honestly it would be low B, high C just based off of what I know with them. But you know, I want to see some better mice, better weight innovation, you know, that kind of thing in the future.
Agreed.
from them.
This one's kind of a hot topic. Glorious. They're really, really popular for being really affordable. And then I don't know if it's just me or did they fall off? How do you guys feel about
C.
that?
So
yeah, C.
okay, so hot take. I don't know if it's a hot take, but the mouse that really popped off for Glorious was the Model O, and the Model O at the end of the day was meant to be a copy of Finalmouse. And with that being said, the quality and the overall like quality control and longevity of their mice really isn't that great. My household has had 3 Model O's, and my Model O was not the greatest. It was pretty heavy, even though it looked like a Finalmouse. It was on the bigger side and weighed a lot more. I just think that in terms of what products Glorious is making in terms of mouse peripherals, there's just so many more better options to go with, even at their price point. Even though they have quite the variety of different mice, I just think that I would pick any other brand above them before I would go with Glorious again.
I've had all mine break too, so I don't really have much to say besides, I mean, they were innovative for their time. It was the alternative to Finalmouse. I agree with that. I don't think they're bad. They're definitely affordable. Maybe I just got unlucky. I don't know if anybody else has used Glorious before.
I mean, my Model O broke, and so did one of hers. So
Both of mine that I had broke too.
No, I mean I haven't used them, but I've seen like a lot, and I feel like they're just kind of like a company that kind of like weren't able to keep up with the times. They were good at.
I mean,
yeah.
dude, their keyboard stuff is great. Their
Oh, yeah.
GMMK Pro, their switches, the Holy Pandas, they're all great. But the mouse peripherals not so good.
I'll leave them at C in case there's something else that's worse.
Okay.
Because I'll leave with the next one. The Microsoft mouse that comes with computers.
Bad.
If there was a worse one, I'd put it there.
So now we have our baseline of what bad is. I put that there purposefully. Has anybody ever used Red Dragon before?
That's like bottom C tier.
I used it at Toronto.
Did you really? They're not good
Garbage.
mice. They are not good mice.
Garbage.
At least
No,
Glorious
that's
are mice.
bad.
I think they're mice. Like I would prefer to use a Glorious over Red Dragon. Red Dragon.
100%.
I put that on here. I remember I bought one and I returned it the same day because I was so disappointed what I was using in my hands. I was like, what is this? It's crazy.
Yep, I would keep it at low C for sure, and we might put things between it. But Red Dragon, it's like they're the the off-brand company that's trying to make good products. Like they're trying. I give them credit for trying.
Oh, yeah, they
but
definitely made some odd
they've been that
things.
mid company for like a decade. Dude.
Yeah.
They're just not going up.
I'm gonna switch to one that probably is a good company that I just recently got their mouse in the mail yesterday, which is Xtrfy. I don't have as much time. It's only been 24 hours. I'm using the one that Rocket Jump Ninja made, which I enjoy so far. I think it's a really good mouse. I just don't know.
Is that the one that we talked about?
Yeah, I did buy it actually. I like it so far. I actually,
It's pretty nice. That's what my streaming PC mouse is.
yeah, it's actually surprisingly solid. I don't know the sensor in it, but it definitely feels different compared to a Logitech. That's for sure.
Oh, the shape is very, very unique. I would, so with my MZ1 personally, I've had my MZ1 for like 3 years, never had any issues with it. I would probably put it between ROG and Finalmouse, because there is the MZ1 wireless as well, which is just the wireless version of the mouse that we have. That might be the one that you bought.
That is the one that I bought. I have that one in front of me.
But like the shape is so unique, and the way that the mouse feels overall is genuinely pretty solid in my opinion. And if you have the specific grip that works really well for this mouse, I think anyone who buys it would thoroughly enjoy it. And it's not like a super break the bank kind of mouse. So I would personally put it probably right where it's at, between Finalmouse and ROG.
Yeah, they just have such a unique shape that it's just kind of
100%.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad at all. I actually am finding that I am liking more of the unique shapes, because I know at first you said I wouldn't like it, but I guess I've fallen in love with the G309. Oddly, considering that mouse is not supposed to be their top end, I think it's better than their other mouse they put out, which is very strange. I haven't put a video out on it, but then because of that, I was like, this shape is kind of like the Xtrfy, the wireless one, so I bought it, and I surprisingly like it as well, and I'm like, huh.
To be fair, the only reason I didn't think you would like the Xtrfy was because of the grooves and the way that you play with your index and your middle finger on.
I do have
the left
smaller
side.
hands, so it did surprise me how it felt.
Good.
I have small hands.
A small hand.
Small hands. I guess next up, let's try something a little random here. What about SteelSeries? I've never used a SteelSeries before, ever. I don't know about this one.
So SteelSeries, I'm gonna throw personally between Glorious and Red Dragon.
Oh wow.
I've had SteelSeries mice. Their older mice were better for the times. They used to be comparable to Zowie back in the day. With like the Rival and the Rival 3. Those were pretty solid mice. I haven't used any mice since then, but I did kind of enjoy that. But that was like 6 years ago, if I want to say, maybe 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Just they haven't come out with anything that's like really like, oh my God, this is crazy in terms of just weight, sensor, shape overall. I know they have decent mice with their Aerox, but it's not, like I said, I would pick any of the brands that we put above them before I would grab one of those.
That's fair. Anybody else ever used SteelSeries before?
No, I mean, I feel like they're just kind of like, it's kind of like a Logitech, but like not as, I don't know. It's like, they're safe, you know, but it's like not as safe as Logitech, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's just like, you know, when people think, if you're like new to gaming or like anything really, and like related to like peripherals, you kind of just like Logitech, SteelSeries, and they're kind of just like thrown in like that big like pile of just like the big companies, you know?
It's just like, hey, look, it's the mouse, it works. Trust us.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
100%.
You can play video games with this. Like,
Speaking of which, one of them
This
was
is a
very
quote-unquote gaming
iconic
mouse.
that you had mentioned was Zowie.
I feel like
S.
Zowie's be like very good.
S tier.
Like,
S tier?
They
S tier.
be making some good ass mice, like really good mice.
I want to
What?
say this. I've never used a Zowie mouse in my life, and I'm saying S tier.
I have
Like-
only used one Zowie mouse, and they're not bad. I just don't. They haven't pushed 4K or 8K, but honestly, does that really matter for like Apex Legends players? Like,
No,
So like no, because Apex can like barely handle it. But if you look at what they've dropped in recent times, like they don't really even care about like sensor or like I don't even know how to explain it. They just don't care. Okay, but they also come out with some of the cheapest and most reliable mice ever, dude. Like
yeah, like if
they're-
you want a one and done, like you buy a Zowie. Like,
genuinely, and they have different like different weights, different shapes. Like the EC2 is one of their really popular mice right now, and it's a 77 gram mouse. You know what I mean?
it's
But,
heavier.
like,
It is. I
it's-
actually did use that one, and it's the wireless
so
one.
reliable. Like it's ergonomic, it's reliable, it's great. This has been the company, like all of the Counter-Strike players that are watching this video right now know what the fuck I'm talking about. Like this was the creme de la creme in the Counter-Strike days, was just Zowie mice in general.
So can we put them at A for, because they're not like, I guess, pushing boundaries of
say, yeah.
sensors. Like, because I mean, I would say that Razer probably in terms of like sensor and performance would be better, but Zowie is king when it comes to, I guess you could say shape, right?
I could agree with A tier for sure.
We also need something there, so I guess it kind of fits. Next up, which is one that I actually have used, I use a Lamzu 4K. Who else has used Lamzu before?
I have used Lamzu.
I feel like they're A tier from what I've heard.
Yeah, I would say A tier, maybe even above Zowie. It's they are innovating. Lamzu is innovating in the sense of like weight and shape especially. The Atlantis is a shape that I have never felt before. Even between the Superlight and the Viper V3, which I would say are the closest mice to the Atlantis, it still doesn't even feel similar. But in also a good way. I don't like their scroll wheel personally, but like I've heard a lot of really good things about their Maya. I've heard a lot of good things about some of their other mice as well. I just haven't used them personally, but I would say probably even above Zowie.
I'm torn on that. Anybody else know Lamzu? Anything? I had issues with their scroll wheel. I actually gave it to Eddie, who's doing the thumbnail of this video. He had a scroll issue, but he does love it.
They're great mice.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they're still above Zowie. I mean, like I feel like it's like the rest of the stuff kind of outweighs that.
They're innovating compared to Zowie. Like they're dropping new stuff. You know, it's ironic that Fnatic is on here because the only, like, I know Fnatic has a mouse. I've never used it, but the only Fnatic mouse that I can think of is the Lamzu Maya Fnatic edition, which I've heard amazing things about.
I forget why we put it on here. I think they made like Fnatic and some gear or something.
I think it's called the Fnatic Bolt, if I remember correctly.
But I don't know much about them. Does anybody know much about the Fnatic mice?
No.
Okay. I mean, let me just look at this real quick. It looks like a EC2 clone, just looking at it. Ironically, we were just talking about that. Looks like an EC2 clone. It's 67 grams, which is on the lighter side compared to Zowie, at least. You know, like 110, 210 hours of battery life, so it's pretty solid, but it's not 4K. So like it's one of those mice that would also be a good pickup, but there's better options. You know what I mean?
I saw it on Rocket Jump Ninja's list, and whenever I was pulling it up, it did get listed. And so I'd never used them before, and I don't know much about them. That's I mean, I know that they've used it. I've heard of their shapes, but I've just never used it personally.
So because of the Maya and the Thorn was actually the one that I was thinking of. It's an actual like collab with Fnatic.
Mm-hmm.
So like they did some of the design aspects of it as well. That is a 3395 4K 52 grams. It's an ergo mouse. So like that's innovative in my opinion. That's like between the Thorn, the Maya, and the Bolt that they have, I would probably put them between Finalmouse and Xtrfy in my opinion.
That's fair. I just know they've made their own mice before. I just, never used anything. The next one that I'll pull up, because Lumi mentioned this one, G-Wolves. I've always wanted to try it because I heard it was more like a Logitech clone, but then I never bought it. I know that they're pushing boundaries when it comes to 4K, 8K, and sensor, but okay. Whoa, we got a reaction. All right.
They are like bottom C tier because of like. Okay.
I want to strangle the CEO of this company, dude.
Why? What happened? Oh my god.
Because they have something so good going. They're so innovative and like are coming out with some crazy mice, okay? And then they just destroy it with QC and software problems, bro. It is devastating.
Dude.
It's so bad.
You want to hear how bad my QC issues were with my HTX Ace?
Yeah, hit me.
So my mouse would die in 2 hours.
Yep.
Okay. And then the clicks were horrible. Scroll wheel would like double it would like if I scroll down or up in any direction too fast, it would just register both inputs. Both up and down.
Left and right click issues.
Yeah, both those issues. The side clicks horrible. They turn like really mushy. What's it called? If I set down my mouse too hard on my mouse pad, or I just set it down, every single button on the mouse would register at once.
What? This sounds more like bad than C. This sounds like they barely work. But what's crazy is that they have like I've heard early on, like I remember when I first heard this company like 3 or 4 years ago, and it was like the Logitech new G Pro that you wish you had, essentially,
No, so like the thing is with bad, it's like I feel like even if the product works, it be shit, it like kind of deserves bad. But like bottom of C tier, it's like you could do something.
Lumi's
like,
offending me right now. I'm offended.
No. I hate G-Wolves. I'm never buying a product from them again. But I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, hey, if you fix the bajillion QC issues, you could be good.
But I'm gonna speak from experience. All right, I have 2 G-Wolves mice. Okay, I have an HTS Pro or HTS whatever, HTS Plus. Yeah, that's that one, 4K. And then I have the original HotES wired soccer edition. Okay, the older mice, the original HotES series, the best mice they ever came out with. Okay. They were the most reliable. They didn't have any QC issues. They had like squeezing, creaking issues, right? But like sensor issues, scroll wheel issues, side button issues, all that stuff, they didn't have it. It was all great. When they started coming out with a lot of their wireless mice and their newer series, the HTS line, as opposed to Hottie, they started dropping pretty significantly in terms of like quality control. They just they couldn't keep up with it. And unfortunately, like, if they didn't have the QC issues that they have, because it's bad, like their QC issues are bad. But if they didn't have them, I'm talking like mid-high A tier. But if they, with them having it, I honestly, low C tier is kind of where it fits. Man, because when the mice work, they're great. They're so good, and they have so many different kinds. Like, I'm sure you probably haven't even heard of the HSK. That mouse is like specific for fingertip grip people, but it's so like crazy looking. It's innovative, and it's something that like mouse companies don't come out with that shit anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where like they are genuinely trying to shake the game, but their QC just makes it so bad. Like, it's so disappointing. Like the 4K polling on this mouse is so bad that the moment you turn it on and try to play Apex, you're at like 4 FPS. Ooh. Like, it just skips. Like you're playing a slideshow.
Oh my God. Well, as we get down this list, these are going to be more unknown and tricky. So, because I don't know a whole lot of these, like Alienware. I didn't even know they made mice, to be honest.
That's either gonna be bad or unknown for me.
Yeah.
Anybody know about this company? Anybody?
Like, I only know about their.
I mean, I know the monitors. The monitors are great.
Monitors are good. Yeah, the PCs are overpriced. That's all I know.
Yeah, I mean, they're like not unknown, but like in regards to mice, yeah.
Okay, next one, EVGA.
Same thing.
Anybody? Guape, Cloudy, nobody. I don't know either.
Unknown.
Okay, so even Gigabyte. Okay, so my roommate had used a Gigabyte mice. I didn't want to touch it, but
unknown for me, dude. I have not. No.
Okay, MSI.
Nope.
Okay, Ducky is well known for keyboards. Nope. But I didn't even know they made mice, but they do. You go to their site, they got mice listed.
Never have I used the Ducky mouse.
Anybody?
I've only used the Ducky one too many.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I've
okay, so something a little more known. What about HyperX? I've seen these at LAN centers.
Yes, that is a B or mid C tier mouse.
I would probably put it C. Or what was that?
Specifically,
decent C, probably.
You've used HyperX?
I think that's good right where it's at. Right where it's at is good. Because the Pulsefire Haste is actually a pretty decent mouse. And the Pulsefire Haste 2. They're not necessarily like innovating. But in terms of overall production and the quality of their device or their peripherals overall, I would say are pretty decent mice wise.
Okay.
They don't have a lot, if I'm being honest, but the Haste 2 in and of itself, in my opinion, is pretty solid.
That's the more popular one I've heard of too. That's the one that I see at LAN centers. That's usually set up if people do have HyperX. I saw that at one LAN center. I was like, HyperX? I was like, oh my God.
That's really the only mouse they have, if I'm being honest, is the Pulsefire Haze. So like going off of that, I would say probably right where it's at is good. Just because like I would still pick a Pulsefire Haze over a SteelSeries mouse in my opinion.
This one's tricky. I've only used one mouse from them, Cooler Master. I know they made keyboards a lot too.
Right where you're putting them is good or bad.
I would put them above Red Dragon.
You think so?
I mean, they were trying some new stuff. Because I would never touch a Red Dragon. But
then I would put G-Wolves above Red Dragon and.
Oh, that's brutal. Oh, okay, screw it. Yep.
But I mean, that's not bad. I would almost put G-Wolves in front of Cooler Master because like G-Wolves mice are. Like I said, when they're working the way that they're supposed to, it's kind of like Finalmouse. When their QC issues aren't happening because there are units without them, they're so good. The clicks, the scroll wheel, like everything, they're so good. But it's
okay. Next up, Mad Cats.
Unknown.
I've
heard bad things though.
I would put them around Red Dragon because I've seen their abominations of mice before. I didn't want to touch it. It kind of looks like a transformer from what I remember. Lenovo.
Unknown.
I didn't even know they made mice.
They do apparently. They have them listed, unless I'm crazy. But I pulled up as much as I could here. Bloody, which is the A240 Tech or A40 Tech. Is their main...
All right. I don't know why I know this information, but I do. If you're a Minecraft player, S tier.
Oh, because of the
the drag clicking capabilities on Bloodies are specifically the A40 is just ridiculous. Like over 20 clicks per second, just dragging your finger down the mouse. If you play
What
anything
the-
else, like C tier.
That's a polarizing thing to put it. So then it's only good for one game essentially.
Yes.
So then that's why I've heard more about them. That makes sense. So then above Cooler Master? I mean, that's polarizing. That's hard.
I mean, here's when they have so many mice. Like, Daz, I don't think you understand just how many mice they have.
They have a lot. My friend used to be a partner with them, and there was like a mouse every week, it felt like.
Who uses them?
I only know like one person who does, and they said they're okay. But I would,
Right.
I don't know. I mean,
I meant the A90, by the way, not the A40.
sure, yeah. But like, well, same with Cooler Master. Who uses Cooler Master mice? Everyone knows
Right.
it for keyboards.
It's the same thing. Like, you can only go up to 6,200 DPI on these mice. Like, they are outdated. They are like, they're heavy. They're outdated. Like,
Put them down
it's
here, then.
140 grams, dude. Like,
Wow.
they're just not. They're just not great. 1,000 hertz. Like, it's not good. Not good. But if you play Minecraft, solid.
There you go, Minecrafters. You know what to look for, even though it's the Apex channel. But Minecrafters is gonna have a golden opportunity here. Next up, Corsair. We're almost done.
Right in the Red Dragon, Bloody Mad Cats area.
They were bought. No, I guess they weren't bought up. No, actually, okay. This one does segue. Was it Corsair? No, I guess
it was Rock Hat that you're thinking of.
Yeah, Rocket was bought out
Rocket.
by Turtle Beach,
Turtle
right?
Beach. Yep.
They're like the same company, it feels like, but not really.
Yeah.
I mean, Corsair
yeah.
makes great peripheral or PC components like cases, and their
Oh,
memory
yeah.
sticks are great.
Bro, when you look at Corsair mice and you just like they are Logitech from 2017.
They
Like,
haven't done
actually.
anything new. What's the problem?
No, and none of it's innovative. It like Corsair keyboards, decent. Like I'll rock with keyboards. Their PC stuff, love them. Everything else, not ideal, not great.
Now, the last one, which is kind of interesting, is Endgame Gear, which I've never
S-tier.
used, but I've heard a lot of good things about.
Just put it at S tier, dude. S tier.
Really? Is it that good?
OP1 8K, OP1WE, XM2, and XM1R, some of the best mice on the market, dude. Like, you can't touch them. I would almost even put them above Razer type shit. Like,
Oh, wow. I've out of all the mice I've used, I have never used their product before, ever. So I would have to trust you on that, because I'm not quite sure.
That's another thing, is I've never used one either. But that's how.
Well, then
like,
why not put them at
highly-
A? Put them at A to be a little more fair, with like Lamzu. Would you like with Lamzu, like above Lamzu?
Dude, I'm telling you, above Razer. Like, when you look at the. Okay, so if we break it down, right, the main reason why we put Razer at S tier was their overall variety and their innovation, as well as just the overall quality, especially of their Viper series, right?
Yeah.
Endgame is like that with all of their mice. I have never heard of QC issues with their mice, and their primary mice, like, are, like I said, the XM1, XM1R, XM2, XM2WE, and the OP1 line, right?
Yeah.
Every single one of those mice, absolute banger. Absolute banger. And they're all affordable. The OP1 8K mouse, it's wired, and it's $75 with a $33.95. Tail switches, 50 grams. Like, it's fantastic. And the shape,
A compromise would be right below Razer, because I feel like a lot of people
Yeah.
don't know that company, but maybe should go research. I
They
probably
should.
I should probably
They
go buy a
should.
mouse. I should go buy one of their mice to try. I just recently bought a Razer mouse. The only reason I never bought one before is because a long time ago, like 8 years ago, they had a lot of quality control issues, but I know
For
that they
sure.
fixed it, and it's been a long time. And so I bought their V3 Pro, and I thought it was great. I think it's a great mouse. I mean, it's very safe. It's got a great sensor. I can't say anything bad about it. You know, like they've
Yeah.
innovated. They've done a really good job. We'll do closing thoughts on mice. My closing thoughts. I've always been more of a Logitech fan, and I've been branching out to like companies like Xtrfy. I've tried Asus, Zowie, Lamzu. And I mean, at the end of the day, shape is what you kind of go for. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I understand why people feel a certain way about the Logitech, or where they sit. So I looking at this list, I mean, I agree. I can see this.
I honestly think we could make adjustments to this list as well, right?
What
when
adjustments?
you look at,
Hit me.
I think Ninjutsu, Logitech, and Finalmouse could go right behind Zowie, all three of them, and then you could bump like Glorious and HyperX up to B, and then leave everything else.
Even with the quality control of Glorious?
I mean, honestly, I in my personal opinion, I would put Glorious back and put G-Wolves behind HyperX, just because of my personal experience with G-Wolves. But I think that's a more evened out tier list in terms of like popular brands and where they
Yeah,
stand
I
compared
think
to
so,
everything
too.
else.
Yeah,
'Cause, like,
I agree.
When you look at C tier, like that's consistent. All of those brands are mid, right?
Yes.
B tier, all of those brands are pretty, like they're above mid, but they're not like the best in the world, right? And then A tier is like, okay, we're getting to the good mice. S tier, great mice, right?
And that's fair.
I feel like that evens out pretty well.
Yeah, because like, okay, let's kind of just talk through these. I don't know anything about, so that's okay. Microsoft, we know that's just bad because they don't really do a whole lot. Mad Cats, yeah, I won't touch that. Bloody, there's no way. Red Dragon, I've seen it. We've used it at LAN. Horrible. Rocat is they're making Transformers. Corsair hasn't been relevant for mice in a long time. Cooler Master, they did try, but man, is it pretty brutal, and I don't think they've done much sense. SteelSeries. Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay. I'm just kind of talking about it in my head and just kind of get justified. But yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. I can see that. I can definitely see that. Where this hits. And hit us again for me, what you say each of these ranks are.
We're actually, like, we're missing a couple mouse brands too.
Which ones are we missing?
I'm trying to, I had, WL Mouse is one of them. Like the BeastX, the BeastX Mini.
Never heard of them.
That's crazy. Cloudy, that's Cloudy's main mouse. And
is it really? Cloudy, tell us a little about it. Tell us a little bit about it.
The overall just build quality, you get on it is really nice. Kind of similar shape to like Finalmouse. I haven't used the Finalmouse before, but yeah, I say overall like one of the lightest mouse you can get on the market right now.
And what's it called again?
And
it's the BeastX or the BeastX Mini. If so,
BeastX.
with my knowledge
they
on
have a
mice,
Max now too.
Yeah. I like, I would say it like, you know what the Viper V2 Signature Edition looks like, Daz?
Yes.
It's like a Viper V2 Signature Edition and a Finalmouse ULX combined.
Oh,
but without
interesting.
AK.
Okay.
And it's also just as light as the ULX, if not lighter. It's a very good mouse. We have two of them. I don't use it all the time. I would still use my ULX over it. Like the WL mouse, like they're a brand that's starting to take the industry by storm, just for making high quality mice. But they are expensive.
Kind of recent too.
Yeah, 100%.
That's why I did digging trying to find even the ones that were known at the bottom. I was like, man, I tried to go look, you know.
You missed Pulsar as well.
True. Where would we put Pulsar?
Pulsar is going in A tier or high B tier.
I would agree with that. Pulsar is very well known. I'm surprised I missed them.
The only reason I would do high B tier is because I've only had one of their mice, and it's the X2 Mini, and it's before they came out with the X2H and all the different like X2 V2, all that stuff. I had like right click issues out of the box where my right click would stop registering or register out of nowhere. But the overall shape and feeling of the mouse as a whole, I think that they're really high quality. I love what they do with their branding. Even looking at the bottom of the mouse, just the design of everything looks really, really nice. And they're also doing collabs with some pretty big companies. So like, if you were to go on Micro Center right now, if you have a Micro Center near you, they have a Demon Slayer collab, and you can actually walk right into a Micro Center and just buy any of the Demon Slayer collab mice.
That's actually really cool. Sick. Wow, that's actually insane.
And they're like, you know, the mice from like from Nacho Customs where he does like all the custom painting and stuff.
Yeah.
I'll send you a link, but he Pulsar literally dropped so many cool designs, and like those who watch Demon Slayer, the adapter, the dongle for the mouse itself is actually like Nezuko's box that Tanjiro wears with Tanjiro's and Nezuko's mice specifically. It's really cool. So I just need a link to all of them. And they have like an entire mousepad lineup with this as well. So like,
yeah, I'm looking at it.
Pulsar specifically, like I said, I would put probably around like low to mid A or high B. But just with their innovation in general, I would say low A.
That makes sense. I feel confident with this list. Everybody, I want to thank Guape. I know he only had a few input based on mice. Cloudy, 4B, Lumi. Thank you guys for giving this list. Actually, looking at it, there's only so much that I know about mice as well. But for Apex Legends, from a perspective, I think if you're watching Apex Legends because of the SoaR Apex Legends channel, I think this kind of gives a pretty good idea on what you should be looking into for mice. Right? How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, especially at like a valid price.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because like I will say, like, in terms of closing thoughts, every single mouse that's in S and A tier is expensive. Like, do not be surprised when you're paying a lot of money for these, okay? Out of all of them, Lamzu and Zowie are probably the cheaper, high quality ones, in my opinion. Like, the Lamzu Atlantis is about $100, but like, when you're looking at the Viper V3 Pro, you're paying $160 for that. The Endgame Gear mice, that's also pretty well priced. But like, Ninjutso, the SoaR, you're paying over 100. The Superlight, you're paying 160. The ULX, you're paying at least 180 because of retail prices and reselling. So like, you know, those are the higher tier expensive mice. And if you're looking for cheaper options out of all of these high tier mice, I would say go with Endgame, Lamzu, or Zowie. But just keep in mind of the other companies, they are expensive for a reason, and you get the quality and longevity out of it. So don't skimp out if you want a mouse that's really gonna change the way you view peripherals.
True. Well, thank you guys. Let us know what you think of our thoughts and this tier list. Leave a comment down below, and we'll see you guys all in the next one.
Peace.